thing that always catches me when I'm not ready. I'm sitting here for like 5 minutes waiting to go live, and when I turn my back, that's when it goes live. Greetings, this is Grandmaster Amara coming to you again from Mombasa, Kenya, where I'm actually doing some printing with my HP printer here. And it should be finished in a minute. I don't know if you can hear me. Let's get it a little adjusted here. Today's topic is about the ultimate insult to a Black American. And that ultimate insult is what we need to look at as far as our psychology goes. Now, I worked on this in a previous video, and it was one of the minor points, but today I want to make it a major point. You can't, when you break down Black people in the United States, when you break them down to the lowest common denominator, you get one or two people. You get either you want to live in the United States, obviously, or you want to leave the United States. And this is how you can basically classify us in America. If you really want to break down what we're discussing here, and hold on a second there, 10 more copies. And see it from a clear point of view. When you want to look at yourself, you really want to say, which side of the fence am I on? Now, if you're on this channel and you're enjoying these videos that I'm bringing out, chances are you're leaning towards, okay, America giving me problems. I'm looking for the alternative, and that is to go to Africa. Now, the problem is when you start to talk about this to people that you know, the vast majority of Black people are on the part of, I'm going to stay in America. And as long as they have that view, okay, what's up, Nzinga? How are you, man? As long as we have that view, it's really nothing that they're going to be able to do. Let me move this camera in so it can look like I'm talking to this guy. Yeah. So, I touched on this in the past, and I really want to make it a clear point today, where we understand that you either a house Negro or a field Negro. You either want to stay on the plantation, as Malcolm X said, or here you go, or you want to run away as far as you can possibly go. Now, in my case, I ran away, and like most of the slaves that were left on the plantation, they stay there based on fear. They don't know what's outside the master's plantation. They hear rumors that they'll be skinned alive and all this, so they fear, so they stay. But if they see you run away, what they want to know is from you is, did you make it? How is it out there? Is it safe? Is it better than what we got now? Is there food? Is there shelter? It's just the way the mind works. And, I'm here to tell you that leaving the plantation is not like was in the slavery days. Nobody's gonna skin you alive. Nobody's gonna chase you back home. No one's gonna whip you. You'll come to a different land, of course. You'll come to a foreign place. Yes, people will be culturally a bit different from you, but not that much different. And you will be able to eat and and survive. Now, if anybody's been following me for some time, I always stress that when I talk about coming to Africa, I'm talking about modern Africa. There was an issue about this person was calling me, telling me that quote, coming back to Africa, they were already in Africa and they were from America, but they were wearing dashiki. They were wearing African beads around their neck. They would like dress like what you would assume would be an African attire. Okay, now this is only dreamed up in their mind. And if you came to Africa, if you came to Kenya today, modern Kenya, you was wearing a dashiki, African clothes, you'd look out of place, because the place I'm talking about is thoroughly what we might be able to call westernized. And I say you come to the westernized section of Africa first, so you don't get culture shock. Now, if you've never left, and a lot of blacks will be coming to Africa for the first time, if you've never left America, when you come to another place, in order for you to kind of fit in and get your footing, you really need to have sidewalks. You get the red stoplights, got to be there. You see, some sort of order in the streets. Cars going back and forth. You can get that, and then fast food place to eat. High-rise buildings, hotels. You know what I'm saying? Radio stations on the radio, place to buy cell phones and buy, things for your phone, internet. You have to have these things so you would not get culture shock. But what a lot of blacks were doing when they came to Africa is they go right from America and they want to go to the village, the African village. Now I'm telling you, if you come from Africa, from America, and you from the city, and you go into the African village, you just visiting. You ain't thinking about I'm gonna plan to live myself here. Geronimo Prep went to Tanzania with his pregnant wife and bought a house in the village somewhere far, I don't know where out. Water was a problem, electricity was an issue. I don't advocate that. Not at first. Huh? Now, okay, you might think that's a wonderful life, but that you're just out there. I mean, he was in prison and alone in a cell for so many decades until Johnny Cochran got him out. But you're gonna come to Tanzania, then you're gonna build a house in the wilderness, and then that's just like jail. You don't have no neighbors socializing with you. You don't see busy movement. And then, he came from, I think it was Kansas City, where he was from. So, it was a complete different lifestyle. And there was another Black Panther, Pete O'Neill, who had encouraged Geronimo Pratt to come to Tanzania. And you can go on the internet and you can look at Pete O'Neill. He's telling you all about how hard it was for him to get in, to adjust to that kind of life. And I'm like, why the hell are you going into the wilderness when Africa got just as many big cities? I mean, it doesn't have just as many, but I mean, it has big cities where you can just go and be normal. I mean, let's face it. It's been many generations since we had to live in the bush. And you want to talk about, our Western life is the white man's life and blah, blah, this, but you go all around the world. You go to Russia, city life. You go to anywhere in Asia, you go to Korea, you go to China, you go to Japan. City life is a city life. It is not any one group's culture, and then people copied it. No, If you really want to look down, see who copied who, go down to Washington D.C. and go visit the Library of Congress, and you can see all type of architecture where it shows that these things were built based from the ancient Africans in Egypt. I mean, I'm from Los Angeles, the City Hall building at the top is a step pyramid. And if you don't know, step pyramid is the oldest pyramid. So why did they do that? If it was like if they were the white man was the one creating civilization, why would he put that on top of the oldest form of ancient Egyptian agriculture? I mean, buildings is a step pyramid, and he put a prop on top of the City Hall building of Los Angeles. Go check it out. You know what I'm saying? So to come and say like Western civilization is because it's the white man's civilization and we should move away from the whole white man's civilization, that's ridiculous. He didn't invent electricity. You know, he didn't invent sewer systems. He didn't invent paved roads. Hell, he didn't even invent two-story buildings. He didn't even invent a car. So I don't understand why you think like civilization, you got to move away from the white man. You got to move away from everything that he did. He didn't do all those things. He copied them. And when you break it all down, you look at the ancient civilizations that we had, he just copied from the Mayans, and he just copied from, ancient Egypt in those areas. So this idea of moving to the rural area is, to me, not sound advice. You're being caught up in an idea of the Africans are below us, and you might want to have a complex where you need to feel superior because you come from a Western civilization, and you're damn sure gonna go back there if you're going to visit in the rural lands. So you're just there for your visit, and you think that what is the second coming? No. So that's one of the ideas that comes into the mind of those people in the United States that believe like the United States is where I'm going to stay, and I don't have a problem with you wanting to stay there, except for the fact that economically, let's wait for that while I'm online. I'm gonna finish that tomorrow because it's making noise. Economically, America is having a lot of problems. You're not living as well as your parents did in the 60s. You know, you're not living, I mean, your grandparents were in the 60s, and you weren't living as well have as many opportunities as your parents did in the 80s. So if you follow that trend, where does it lead you? Okay. Now we don't know until we get there, but it would be the first time in world history where a superpower was going down, and all of a sudden it just flipped over and zoomed back to prominence. And since that is highly unlikely, thus we have this video where I'm here to discuss with you about your choice of either being a house Negro or a field Negro. Now, people don't like the term Negro, but that's all Martin Luther . So, when I was coming up, that's what we were calling ourselves. We didn't have Black American until Jesse Jackson decided that when he was running for president in 1984. Now, the main point here is that our audience is divided. But psychologically, you're pretty secure in what you believe. Either you're going to stay in the United States and you're going to make up, even though you can have clear evidence that moving would be a positive thing or a logical solution, you resist it. And then that's where, you are being hypocritical. or you're not you're being divided in your own mind, because I've given out tons of information, tons of evidence on the contrary of why you should not look for the future in the United States. And people get on there agree, but you don't see hardly any of them jumping on a plane and then coming here. The trickle is still low. So I know in this game, our team really got a super disadvantage, because the far majority of us as Black people in the United States are still saying they're going to bank on the United States. Well, after 400 years and plus, I wouldn't expect it to be that much any different. Of course, this is all you know, and it was designed for you to be all you know. They didn't even bother to educate you on anything else beyond what you know today. It's only the few that become Black conscious that you move forward to look into the future and see that, or we look into your past and see that you have been fooled. And then you have to ask yourself the question, why did they lie to me? Why did they hide these things from me? Now, I said a few minutes ago, America, you can look at America's economic situation and you can see that each generation is becoming poorer than the next generation. But what about modern Africa today? U.S. economists, not even economists, U.S. economists, all have said unanimously that Africa's growth is probably going to continue for the next 50 years. So that's as far as they can look into the future, they can see Africa is only going to be rising and growing. And I'm telling you that just in the events in the last 3-4 years, it's like pow. Now, Africa could probably do it on its own. It would be a lot slower. But now that they have the Chinese doing investment deals and major infrastructure deals, we're going to get there a lot faster than one thought. If you look at what they've done since year 2000, Africa has been having a GDP from around 6 point something percent, 6 points GDP, since the Chinese started investing in those countries, in particular countries. Now, not all African countries are utilizing Chinese infrastructure, loans, and development programs. And Africa is not exclusively where China is set up. China is doing business in over 45 countries all around the world. I think they're doing business in like 11 African countries, and some only major infrastructure deals like what's going on in Kenya, what happened in Ethiopia, and Rwanda and Uganda. These are and DRC. These are some of the major ones, but they have little ones all over the place. Now, how is it that the Chinese were able to do this? Well, the United States investment into Africa has almost went down to practically zero now. Now, what the United States was arguing was that they were giving out money, grant money that you don't have to pay back, but the Chinese are giving you loans that you have to pay back. The United States was giving out grant money, but where was it going? I mean, there is so much corruption in the United States, it's just horrible. Nobody ever wants to talk about it. Nobody ever wants to put a news article on it. But NGOs get money, and then you've seen it with Hillary Clinton and their charity. You saw that point where I think it was I don't know, the UN. I don't want to say the UN if it's not the UN, but that thing in Haiti where they were given billions of dollars and then they only made 6 houses, and they had collected all these billions of dollars. It was a total insult. And then the Clinton Foundation was the same. Through Hillary's emails and WikiLeaks, they realized that they were scamming those people using the destruction that happened in Haiti to collect money that they never would give to the Haitian people. This is America's mindset. This is the colonialistic mindset that they have that they're not going to get rid of. And it's because they have that kind of mindset where the IMF and the World Bank become the most worst predators ever. And the IMF is only American bankers. All at 9 out of 10 of the heads of the IMF were American banks. So what we're talking about? They almost choked Africa to death with those loans, and then they had the audacity to tell that China, 15 years into the deal, they're going to say that China is here to give out predatory loans. And, I mean, nothing like that has happened. Nowhere came close. But this is America for you, and America is doing that because they don't want. They come to realize that they made a mistake by not investing on equal terms with the Africans. This is what China has done. It's equal partnership. And so, yeah, there had to be loans. They can't be like feeding a country. If you don't have a loan that you have to pay back, you could just the infrastructure could just be worthless. Roads to nowhere be all over the place. So I have seen personally the Kenyan government take managers from the port of Mombasa who were trying to stall the SGR Standard Gauge Railway project. They called them in on a Monday, told them on Wednesday you're supposed to report to, I don't know, some place in, I don't know, Nigeria somewhere. And when they got there, it was just a warehouse, and it with desk in it, and that's where they set them, where they replaced them with people who were pro for change. And so Kenya was getting serious, and you have to do like that. I'm saying, even with the African Free Trade Agreement, you're gonna have, Africans that sit on the border that have been used to taking advantage, getting a little money off the top, and they're gonna have to be dealt with because there can be a great hindrance of trade in the country. Okay. So with the concept of America's economy is going down, and at the same time, Africa's economies are rising. On my side, it makes no sense to subject my children in America to a life where they're going to have to struggle as hard as I struggled. And because they will have reduced income, the areas of oppression and racism will be even higher for them. Now, you might say, that's my baby. No one would do that. But that's what happened to us, you know. And, the highest rate of racial incidents among blacks is here now during the Trump administration. and you're feeling it. So that's what prompts this kind of talk, and a lot of blacks saying, okay, hey, now let me look at this Africa thing a little bit better now because things in America is getting tight. Now there are blacks who wouldn't eat Africa. No, that's ridiculous. I can't go there. So what's my other option? Where can I go here in America? Let me watch Dr. Umar. He's gonna tell me I can get my kids in an African school and they're gonna be better. Let me look at Dr. Claude Anderson. He said I'm gonna buy me a few politicians and then life will be better. And then we have our own businesses and support our own businesses, then life will be better. No, life will never be better. They're lying to you. Life is never going to be better if your end solution is to stay in America. Because the white man, as we can already see, the element in white society is there to attack us and to oppress us every which way that you can in a stealth mode. So we really can't put our finger on it. I mean, you can't claim racism unless the person actually says I'm a racist and I'm doing racist things against you. And who's gonna do that? Nobody. You see. So if you see that you've been having an issue, then hopefully, if you're gonna have children, today's society is as such where the black family has just been eroded. I mean, it's like a novelty. If you got a black man in the house, they fired Jane Amos on Good Times and turned it into a single family home, and they never look back. So I would understand that we have to. What's up, Gwenda, number 9, hotel, my brother. I would expect to understand that we would see the issue, we recognize the issue, but for whatever reason, and it's probably fear, we don't want to take the chance of moving from our comfort zone. And I'm submitting to you that the comfort zone that we think we have is social media. That's right. What we're talking about right now. Good day to you, Leo Anderson. Karibu. Welcome. What we have right now is one of the worst time wasters that is like a drug, that's like a legal drug to us. And some of us can get on our phone for 2 or 3, 4 hours a day. Black people, we love social media. Keeping our attention is something that is very difficult. And we can wander off on phone. We can try to wander off on our phones for hours at a time, and it's no different than drugs. In the 80s, there were video games. Even me, I was a victim of that while I was here in Kenya, and I think I lost a full year of productivity off of the game Age of Empires. I was working on computers, and then I would take a break and I would play Age of Empires, and then the game would last like 2-3 hours. And some of you guys can understand what I'm talking about. But today, it is not video games. It is social media, YouTube, watching the news, chatting on the line, going on Instagram, watching photos. It can really consume up a lot of our time, as if we were on drugs, And without a lot of information that is positive towards us getting out of the condition that we are as a group, then it's just a waste of time. Yeah. Now I do socializing on Facebook, but when you look at my Facebook group, I always tend to do it for business. So the 3-4 groups that I have are all designed to market my businesses and the things that I do and my brand. So that is how I can justify it. But no, I don't go in there and just be, what's the weather like? Ooh, talking back and forth, listening to people, then reading all the comments, but not replying to one of them. This is terrible. So, like I said, the African economy is rising and American economy is declining, and we are trapped in a vicious cycle of propaganda to maintain us one thing, and that is us to stay in the United States. Now, there are a lot of people who didn't know that Geronimo Pratt died in Tanzania. He moved out of Africa. And for sure, if you go to his Geronimo Pratt's WikiLeaks page, they really don't even say that the guy died in Africa. In fact, they don't even talk that he was in Africa. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the freedom fighters left America, and when they leave, they don't want to talk about it. Like Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons saw what was happening to Bill Cosby. He got the message that he was going to be the next one. Boom, he left the country. He didn't go to Africa, but he sure got out of the country. And when he left out of the country, boop, there's no more talk about Russell Simmons. You see? So Russell Simmons is in, I don't know, Singapore or wherever he's at, and he's trying to put videos out showing like he's having a great time outside of America. And he probably is. Because when you leave out of the United States, the first thing you notice is that the people are friendly. And it's not that the people are friendly, it's the fact that most people, Americans, are just not friendly. We just don't socialize. We don't like each other. We hate each other. And so when you go to another country, that's what you see. Now you go to Mexico. When I tell you Africans we as Black people need to move back to Africa, a lot of white Americans are moving to Mexico. And I visit the channels and listen to what they're talking about, the reasons why they left America. And it's a big influx of whites leaving to Mexico now. But and a major point is that Trump is taking the country in the wrong direction. They don't feel like the politics are just too much, and scares these people. And a lot of them are elderly, and then they have the exchange rate issue there in Mexico, and they can live a much better and much healthier life in Mexico. You don't get that many young people because they're busy in the rat race and in the States, and they're trying to get ahead and these kind of things. They're trapped in that mindset. But at one point or another, you're gonna have to stop and say, "Wait a minute. What am I doing here? You know, I have a home in a city in the United States, and I've been living in the same neighborhood for the last 40 years. What kind of trophy do you get for that? Being in the same house for 40 years. Hmm? You know, you don't own a passport. This is a problem. It's psychological. And when someone tells you go to Africa, you look like wait a minute. You know, you know, you could be basically no way. But this is the point I'm making is that they have blacks. The majority of us are like, you see yourself as different than the African, which is utterly ridiculous because there's a billion of them and only like 20 million of us. And you feel like, you belong here or this is your home now. Nobody's home live in a place they call their home where you've been lynched, where you've been racismed out of positions, where you've been first last hired, first fired amongst the people, where you got such a situation that you and your woman can't even get along. You can't even get married. The whole premise of America was to buy a home. Now that's just like they telling you now that was a big mistake. A house is a liability, not an asset. And even such, if the next recession is anything like the one in 2008, then where 50% of blacks lost their homes, then you're gonna find that you're gonna have those people that have homes today might even have to lose them. So you know, there is no getting around it. With 50 years of growth ahead of them, Africa is an option that is going to get better and better. It's going to look sweeter and sweeter. And the fact that in Kenya, the last 3 years, you now can travel back and forth from the two major cities within 5 hours, where it used to be almost 9, 10 hours, is a testament of what the future is going to be like in Africa. So this house Negro, field Negro debate is something that we need to keep revisiting over and over again. Okay, you assess that I'm staying in America today. Do the same assessment 6 months later. Look at your options again because they're forever changing. Africa is booming and it's going to keep on growing. And you might have looked at Africa 5 years ago from a documentary that was already 5 years old. So you're 10 years behind on what's really going on now. So you need to really keep on assessing the fact. You might have saw that plane tickets was costing $1,000, $1,200, even $1,500. But today you can get a round trip ticket to Kenya for somewhere around $600, and on a good day, $500. So things are changing all the way around. And no matter how comfortable you think you are, if you're getting a paycheck, that shit can be taken from you. that can be taken from you at any time. So to get to my overall point is always my videos is I'm saying you need to make an African plan. But at the same time, this video is discussing about the ultimate insult to African American, that is a person who loves America, is for you to tell them, let's go to Africa, or for you to go to Africa and they know you. You see? Because psychologically they have chosen that America is where I'm going to stay. And the ultimate insult, the one that shuts up the period at the end of the sentence is, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I had enough. There's no other conversation that's necessary. You see? That's a slap in their face with both hands. Pow, pow. You know? Because I got friends who would never have imagined they would never leave it. Why would I go to Africa? I mean, that's ridiculous. And then I'm like, well, I'm gone. And then when I got into Africa, lo and behold, what happens? Social media is developed, you know, and not email, but social media where we can do like we're doing right now live. Can you imagine? And you can actually see me. I'm in Africa right now, beautiful day outside, and I got a family, and everything is basically normal. Now it ain't heaven. I mean, I got bills, you know, but I don't have nobody that's gonna be sweating me. I don't have that type of rush, that rat race rush that America has that you need to you really won't realize until you are out of it. When they were doing interviews to white people that had moved out of the United States to Mexico, one of the main things they were saying was that the life is much more slower and more relaxing. People care about who they are, and they also said that the Mexicans were the most nicest people. Said that they would rather die than to insult somebody. And and the parallels between what they were saying about the Mexicans and what I say about Africans and what you know about here about Africans is the same. You know, uh, you welcome all your visitors. You feed them food when they come. These kind of rituals in Mexico are basically the same in Africa. And the people really, try to go out of their way because they see you're a bit different, and they try to go out of their way to welcome you. This is something that is inherent almost everywhere you go, even Russia. So, uh, this idea of thinking like leaving the United States for Africa is something that is, far-fetched. No, the highest number of white people are leaving the United States and moving into Mexico than ever before, today, now. And they're also coming to Africa too, because they know that a lot of that nonsense about racism and blacks hating whites and this and that is nonsense. If you think the Mexicans got a culture, you ain't seen nothing until you come into Africa and see culture. If you think the Mexicans got good weather, you ain't seen nothing until you come into Africa and see great weather and wildlife. Mountains, the biggest. Rivers, the biggest. Lakes, the biggest ones. So, whites can move from Canada and from the U.S. and from Britain. They're moving into Mexico. A lot of them. But for us, Mexico should not be the option. I know there's black people that move to Mexico, for whatever reason I don't understand. Rather than move into a modern African city or a modern African town. But this is a psychological issue that is there, and we're going to have to really address it. Now, to get into it, as I was saying, when you break each black person down to the lowest common denominator, they're either house Negro or field Negro, or they're either going to have decided that they're going to spend their life in the United States. That means that includes their children, raising their children in the United States. Or you have someone that says, "I'm when I get the option and chance, I'm gonna go live in move to Africa." So this person that moves to Africa, definitely he looks like he's the one who's taking the chance. But in actuality, he's moving into an economy that's got a plan and a prediction that is going to be 50 years of growth forward. However, the ones that still live in the United States is seeing that that you're gonna have a recession any day now. What's this now? Why you guys have these names? Fiterary fitness. They don't want to move too far from white people. Jesus is their rock. Yeah. I'm gonna write a book one day called They. And in that book, we're gonna talk all about who is this they? They did us like this, they tried to kill, they're racing us, they. Who is this they? Because as I was saying, there are white people that left the United States and moved to Mexico, and they're still moving and leaving the United States because they're unhappy with the United States, just like blacks are. The only difference is they can move out, and a lot of blacks refuse to leave. Why? Psychologically, there's a problem there. When you break them down and ask them, well, what you gonna do? And they were like, I cannot leave the United States. They don't say I can't go to Africa. They say I can't leave the United States. The United States is my home. They don't say I cannot go. Africa's got all kind of problems. They don't really do that now because we done already shot all that out the window, and they can look back and see that okay, there's some good things happening in Africa. They see that. It's only a matter of time before you're gonna start getting your athletes and your entertainers landing in Africa and staying there and living there. Now, when Geronimo Pratt was in Tanzania, nobody went to go really interview him before he died of a heart attack. Nobody was calling him. You get some few blacks that came to see Pete O'Neill. He did a really video on it, but I was, and he's still living in Africa for over 40 years now. And in the video, he was saying, I'm getting my wife and I are getting malaria every 2 weeks, every month. We get malaria. We don't know what to do. And I'm like, man, water is a problem. That's why we got to do this. There's only one bucket of water left. He was just on the video, and anybody who's watching the video was like, if you were in the U.S., you'd be like, I'm not going there where there's mosquitoes and there's no water, drinking water, But this guy's living in the middle of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? A village. You go to modern Africa city like Nairobi, are you going to really be shortage of water? You go to the supermarket. Are you really going to have a problem with mosquitoes? Very unlikely. It's only when you go in the outlying areas. And just for a newsflash, if you go in the outlying areas, even in the United States, guess what you're going to find? Mosquitoes. You're still going to have to put a mosquito net up. So it's not like it's only in Africa that they got this issue. So most of us live in the city, and that's why we don't really hear about these issues. In Africa, still the far majority of the people still live in the rural areas, so they get that kind of an issue. But the times is changing quick, people. So a lot of the reasons that we would say why you would not leave America are being diminished and being removed here in modern Africa. So this is why I wanted to point out today that we have this psychological point of issue where we have to make a conscious choice. When you break us all the way down, if you put us down, put a gun to our head, are you, field Negro or house Negro? And I'm a field Negro. And why ain't you leaving? Where's your passport? Why you got it? Let me see your African plan. I don't have one. Then you a lie. You a house Negro. How long you been having the plan to go to Africa? Oh, I've been planning for the last 15 years and you ain't went yet. Then please wake up because you got psychological problem. You want to stay even though the logic is against it. You know what I mean? So I'm used to competition, and I know I'm on the opposing team, and I know I'm like, it's the Cowboys versus Melbourne High School, Melbourne pre middle school football team versus the the Los Angeles Raiders. Yeah. So I see that when we bring up these videos and we try to move forward. But I'm here to tell you, and this is where we're going to finish up on this video, that when you come to Africa, and you start talking about, you're in America and you become black conscious, and then you start seeing like you become awake and you become realizing the situation, and you say, okay, I'm going to move to Africa because this white man is off the chain. This guy is too much, and you start doing reading and you do research. You get on YouTube, you start getting all the black understanding of the things, and then you get your feel of that, and you become like knowledgeable in the ways of our people have been done wrong, and then that becomes your type of change your mentality. That's how mine changed. And when I first became black conscious, I would kill a white person for a few minutes there. I was very angry with them, but I moved past that stage to understanding the whole situation. And who helped me with that was oh man, now I forgot her name. Shoot, I'm looking right at Frances Cress Wilson, and she was explaining that that we are dominant, melanin in us is dominant, and it's recessive in white people, and they are genetically inferior to us. If a white person and a black person get together and have a baby, then the baby comes out with color, and that shows that our genes are superior to theirs, and so therefore we could wipe them out. Because if now every white person had sex with a black person and produced a offspring, white race could be destroyed. You see, and so believe it or not, white people understand this. And I know that a lot of the suicides that go on is because they've been torn between being told that they are better or a superior race when they realize they're not. How you gonna tell somebody you smarter than the black man, and then you go to school and you see a black kid in there, that guy's off the chain with smarts? You see what I'm saying? You go start reading about what black people invented, and you be like, well, if we're the smartest, how come they're the ones who invented all these things? You go out to the playground, and you kicking the ball and you chasing the ball, and the black guy just whoosh, black kid just whoosh, running past you like you were standing still. Can you imagine yourself being a white person? I'm outside and we're outside playing in the hot sun, and I'm just turning a little darker, sweating. I'm having a good time, but you got all kind of complications when you get back when the bell rings. You gonna start peeling at the skin, and you turning red. And you turn around, and you look at the black guy, and you see like that guy's okay, and I'm having all these problems. And then they come and they quite, white people come, white people, parents put you to the side and say, you're not good in the sun. And you look and you say the black guy is okay. What's wrong with me? Well, we come from a northern climate where there was not much sun, and so we're here now. This is one of the problems. But the black guy goes up to the north, he's just okay also. You put on a coat, he put on a coat. You go to Europe, there he is. So this really made me understand white people, and I could no longer hate them. In fact, I feel sorry for them because of the genetic problems that they have. I was talking about in the other video about somebody was saying that there's not a good hospital care in Africa. And I'm saying it's not economically feasible to have that kind of trauma center, medical establishment, medical school life, because black people don't die of all these complications. We're the far majority on the planet. There's too many of us. But black people are only 6% of the world population. So when one dies, it's like a big blow. That's why you see you go out and they got a hidden rule in some of the major cities that if you kill one white person, for every white person you kill, you got to kill 10 blacks. Tell me you ain't heard that. One white guy get killed by a black person, but 10 blacks gotta die. You see, at least because of the numbers. You know, a white person is rare and very valuable. Now I know you see him on TV all the time, and you can't believe that, but that's the fact. He knows that he's inferior, and he also knows that the race is dying out. I got a white friend. One of my students was Edward. He's white. He's Jewish, and we was having a conversation, and he was telling me, when I die, because he had a baby girl, and he only had one kid, and it was a girl. So he was like, I'm the last of the Thalheimers. When I go and my daughter gets married, that's the end of us. Mom, dad is gone. He was he was the only child. His mother and father, who obviously didn't speak much English, I don't know where they was from exactly, but it was like, that's it. You get what I'm saying? So this is what's happening, and they can't. They're torn between two fields. They're either going to have sex with black people to regenerate some melanin into their group, or they're going to have to die out completely. Quaalude Black, how are you, sir? Greetings. You coming in at the end of the video, but I'm gonna give you a lot of good points here, and I think this kind of video is good for comment sections, and you guys are listening. And before I forget, don't forget to like and subscribe on the video. I'm getting a little bit better at that, but where's my favorite paper? Oh, you guys are. Oh, here it is. Yes. If you like what we're talking about, you can get this in the comment section too. These same details. We really need to support this channel. Okay. I was in Nairobi, and I had promised we were going to get some interviews with some Black Americans, but they both let me down. I'll go back in another next month in October, and definitely we probably will meet them. But this channel is mostly for Black Americans that are interested in finding out more about Africa, and this is what we're going to do. Do you also take payments using Wave? Okay, we tried Wave, and then I don't know what happened. There was a big problem with Wave, and then not a big problem, but they just stopped. They refused that number. I don't know if somebody put in the wrong name. I called the Wave people. I emailed them, and they emailed me back that they couldn't tell me why they couldn't use that number anymore. We tried another service, and they did the same thing. So right now, trust me, this is where we went to where it's really working. Like if you send $5 right now, before in the next 10 minutes, I'll get a message saying that you sent this money, and then I can give a shout out to you online. So Western Union is the most securest one that we see. I know it's costs a little bit of money, but I'm only asking you guys to do it one time. And now, somebody that sends in supports the channel with $10, I have a whole nother set of in-depth private videos that I will be able to connect you with. You'll be in with a private channel, and we'll be able to talk even more exclusively. And you can ask me questions that you may not want to ask on the regular chat. So yeah, we tried Wave. It worked for a minute, and then it was like that. Some people were saying the haters had came in and did us in. I don't know, but make sure you use the right name and the right spelling. Eva, this is my wife. For those that don't understand, this is our basic number. It can't be in two people's name, and it's in her name. So this is the contact. This is the name that you put there. Eva was on the show a while back. You can see her. We'll do another show later on. She's always working on the weekends. I'll send you that $10 today. Okay, Quaker Black. You see now you're on the chat line saying that. So let us see if you really appreciate this thing. Now I have met another Black American who has said he's going to come to Kenya in April 2020. So far, that's three of us. Three of us. We're three of us. And we're gearing for that. Now, for those people on this channel, automatically just know I'm here to help. You got a friend in Kenya. So if you choose Kenya as your adopted African country, and you come here, definitely you're gonna meet me. Definitely we're gonna sit down, and I'll give you my 20 plus years wisdom of how to make it in an African country, or where to go to have a great time, or where to go to learn about business, or how to start a business. So that's one of the great pluses of this channel, and we've been doing it. Now this guy, he never was on Facebook because I had last seen him 24 years ago. And he was one of my closest business partners. He just dropped off the radar, and then 3-4 years later, I left the country. I was supposed to come back. I never came back. I looked for him on social media. He was never there. The guy just got on social media 3-4 days ago with my help because he couldn't get it on, and then he was on, and then I'm trying to reach him, and then to the point where I'm looking for the name for the guy sending messages, and then Facebook blocked my account. Said, "Well, who are you sending these strange messages? It's not like you." And then I was like, "Oh, see, Facebook is like you've been frozen." And then they had to ask me questions for me to get the channel back. So I was like, "Damn." But now we're connected. We're friends. He has seen all the things that I have done here because we were working in martial arts in the U.S. And now he's seen that all the activity that we've been doing, going from almost zero to thousands of people in the country. Now I'm Grandmaster Amin Ra. I'm Grandmaster of Mantis Kempo Karate. It is the most practiced martial art in Kenya today, and we're going to keep on spreading it. I'm also a digital education specialist, and I'm also introducing into Kenya's primary schools a first digital revision tool that allows students to use tablets. I'm getting a message, dear customer. I don't know what that means. So allow customers. So we're looking for expansion on that. Everything takes time, but there's so many opportunities here in Africa you can do for business and development. And if you're retired, like this friend of mine, he's now retired. He's been living in the same house for 30 years, he told me. And I'm like, well, what you gonna do? Stay there another 10, 40 years till you die in the same house? What's that? That's not true. If you move to Africa and live like a king, sell that house before recession hit, and then you lose that house. So, yeah. And he's, he can see he's disagreeing with me because I'm doing this for a living. He's meeting me for the first time and listening to me tell him about move to Africa. What's that? He never really thought about it. Like, do you have a passport? No. I'm like, you see. And, right then and there while we were talking, because he's known me, he was one of my closest friends and business partners. And he knew right then and there what I was saying made sense. So how come he didn't hear about it? How come he didn't think about it? It's like that for a lot of Black people out there, especially if you retire. You got a paycheck, you get a check every month, and then you get living in a flat somewhere, and where you are, there's gunfire all the time, and the crime is there. You're afraid to go out at night. Move. You're in a place that is not conducive for you. Black people are friendly, like they say with what the white people saying about the Mexicans. Everybody's friendly. We are friendly by nature. It's only living in America that has made us turn to this kind of thing where we just desocialize ourselves. We are anti-family basically now, and at the end of the day, we grow old, and then the younger generation just disrespects us, and then we're just left like that. But if you were moved here to modern Africa, you'll see a world of difference, and your last years on the planet can be something that you would really cherish. All my friends that have come here overstayed their visit. Their visa time. They overstayed because they loved the place and they did not want to leave. If people look at Dinosaur Amir, he also said the same thing. When you come, you don't want to go. When it's come time for you to leave home, you feel like that. Okay, this is a great opportunity for us here because our channel is so few people. I can answer all your questions. Yeah, I'll send you the $10 today. Okay, I'm waiting. Congratulations. Have you ever thought about doing a Kenyan tour with Dinas? Okay, thanks for that question. My channel is older than Dynasty's channel. This channel is like 11 years old, and I just wasn't utilizing it. And in 2009, I had created a tour just to see filler, you know, see what people would how people would, how they would respond to it. And in 2009, I didn't put a lot of effort into it, and then we ended up canceling it. But you see, that was 10 years ago, but to now it's becoming more serious, and that's what prompted me to reactivate this channel. My Black Man's Guide to Moving to Modern Africa. But for people that don't know, I wrote a book and published a book called Black Man's Guide to Visiting, Moving, and Doing Business in Modern Africa. You can get it on Amazon, or you can send me $10 and I will send you a PDF copy of the book. How's that? So you can get a lot of things for, I don't believe in, you just put money and say hi. No, I believe you pay, you get. It's like I take this brother that came here to Kenya and made him my business partner. And we started dealing in the business of digital education. So that's what I'm about here. Okay, let me see. I have it. What's that mean? So I've not done a tour with Dynas, but Dynas is doing a tour of the urban areas. He's told you clearly that he's doing it to go to, the rural areas. He's not talking about going to Lagos, and that he wants to take you into where he's a prince, and to show you the actual African deep culture. What I'm talking about is a tour that's dealing with meeting the people that show you how you can live. I want you to go around, see the real estate. Not that you're gonna buy real estate. I don't recommend that you buy, but find properties that you can rent. Start off with. Meet people that are doing business. You tell, well, okay, I want to do this kind of business. Then we go in and find those people that are doing that type of business. This is the type of tour. It's like a business tour. And there was a tour I did do in 2000. We took 17 people and we traveled from Kenya all the way to Johannesburg, South Africa. And that was a really great tour. A lot of people didn't want to go for it because they didn't want to spend 4 days on the bus. But it's nothing like getting your passport stamped with different countries all over the place. And you visit Zimbabwe, you visit Malawi. Wow, you go do street food in Tanzania, Mozambique, and then you go into South Africa. Wow, 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 wow. It's definitely something you won't forget. And I would like to organize that, but the appetite for that type of tour has to come from you people, and not me. I'm ready to take you, but you have to show that request. So your book, Mr. Ron, okay, about the Black Man's Guide book, it's I published it in 2005. I think I've done one revised edition, but it goes through a lot of the different areas from back then, before there was really a lot of social media ability now. Like I can click with you on Facebook and then we can be talking just like this, back and forth. This is where we're going. Now we have 4G and we will soon have 5G. And when we have 5G, my goodness, man, I can be downloading great loads of information. And as far as my digital revision program is concerned, I'll be able to download it directly into a device anywhere in the country, and that device can run other devices. It's a beautiful thing. CCGate.com. Visit my CCGate.com, cc-gate.com. Oh, I can do that in type, huh? If you want to become an investor in the CCGate program, this is there. Just go to this website, or you can contact me. Here is my number, and you can contact me directly. Yeah. But I want to be able to close out this video now, and we're going to come back again with a more live video. I think if you saw the video before this one, I was trying to do the video from my house because people want to know where I live, how I live, am I rich, am I poor? You see, because you see, like you said, if he's in America, if he's in Africa, he should be rich and successful and all this. No, it's not like you have to understand. That's part of the rat race that's been built into us, and we feel like success is equated with riches. This is what they want you. This is the mentality they want you to do. So you keep on striving, and then you end up faking rich. Like you got all this debt, but you trying to look like you got you playing the part. No, drop all of that. Nobody's doing that here in Africa. Nobody's looking at you and basing you on how rich you are, what kind of car you drive, what kind of clothes you wear. No. Now I was borderline rich when I was in the United States. I had all the nice cars, and I lived in Leimert Park, by myself, and I had it going on. And I moved to Pasadena and bought a 3-bedroom house with a back house, and beautiful house. I lived that life. Then I moved to the rich part of town, Euclid Avenue. And I lived that type of life. No, it's not that, because the higher you go up in status, the less you deal with your people. And I had a lot of childhood friends, and I loved them, But because of the way society was structured, it destroyed all of our ability to relate to each other. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's striving to be ahead, and if you can't be ahead, you don't want to be around people that are ahead of you. You just want to hide and then build up your wealth. And then one day you track them down, and then you like, hey, I didn't know I was gonna see you here, man. I got a big house. Look at my new car. You see, and that's the capitalistic system is sick. You know what I mean? So I don't follow that line. I never did. I've never owned a MasterCard or Visa in my life. Yes, can you see me? I've never owned a MasterCard or Visa. So when you see me and you're trying to figure me out, I don't fit the norm. Okay? I don't have no bills besides the regular monthly bills that come in. I don't have no loans out, no bank loans, I don't have none of that. You see what I'm saying? And that's the way I like to live my life. That's a video for another day. And so I'm 61 years old, and this is the way I like to live my life. So to try to see me like you see my house and you try to gauge, okay, let me see how much money this guy's got, because if you got like an old couch, I got an old couch in my living room. I also have a new couch in my living room. So I got a small TV, a flat screen TV that I never watch. You see. So, in fact, you go to my house now, we're fighting to go from electric power to solar power. So sometimes we don't have electricity. You know what I mean? You be just living off of the battery and the solar. So that's just me the way I run my life. So you really can't know me. You know what I'm saying? So the most important fact when you look at me is to see that I'm happy. And life is simple. And we just get along like that. Happy. So then you want to look at the whole situation from a holistic point of view. It's not about how much money you make. It's about how well you get along with the people around you, how easy it is for you to, socialize with other people. And, the weather is also a very important part of it. Fresh food is also another part of it. And this is all the things that Africa provides you. And the security and safety of your family is another thing, which obviously a country that doesn't allow the populace to have guns, and we don't have shootings. I haven't heard gunfire in years, I don't think. And, if that's a benefit to you and to your family, and, your interaction with your woman is another one, and society should be able to promote that interaction as opposed to trying to destroy it. Yeah, that's how you can gauge me, but not because of what you think I'm rich. Okay. Yeah. So the name of the book is Black Man's Guide to visiting, moving, and doing business in modern Africa. I'm also on Facebook. You can get the same if you do Black Man's Guide to Moving to Africa. You should be able to get the site. In fact, I can do that, can't I? Let me put the link for that there. So a lot of the things that we talk about on this channel, I do more research and evidence inside inside. Yeah. So that's where you can get our Black Man's Guide. This is connected to this channel. A lot of my followers is based on Facebook. I'm just starting out with a new YouTube channel a few months ago, and this channel can't really go far unless you guys support us. Okay, so once again, I'm asking you to do this. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe the video. I really never say that. I think I put a new. Let me see if I can do my finger. Yeah, I put a new. I'm on this side, but it might be on the other side. I put a new button here. You can just tap that button where it says tap to subscribe. Boom, bow, and we can keep moving forward. But for the rest of you who want to get some benefit and get a little bit closer and more in-depth information, support the channel with $10, and we will see a wealth of videos that I normally don't put on the public side. And I look forward to many more videos coming up in the future. And let's grow this channel to be able to support, even if it's like, a few people. I'm just excited to be able to give people information that they normally wouldn't have. And a lot of the information that I'm saying is different than the mainstream, and that's because a lot of the information you've been getting you've been lied to. And I believe even the mindset of House Negro is you directly came to that conclusion based on propaganda lies that have been fed into you. In any case, it really wouldn't hurt to have an exit plan. I call it an African exit plan that you can fall back on just to give you some mental comfort when shit goes awry. Like that drop in the stock market, and then Boyce Lydell was there talking about it's just okay. It goes up, it goes down. I'm like, you fool. When it goes down, you lose your money. So when it comes back up, then everybody got their hand out, you gotta have more money. You know what I mean? But they're tricking people like that. But see, investing in the stock market, putting your kids in Dr. Umar's school, doing Dr. Claude Anderson's investing in the politician thing, all that, when you look at it, all of it comes down to you got to be in America. Nation Islam the same. They never have talked about moving out of the country. But the United States really is fearful. The greatest fear America has is black people leaving in mass